laughing because I recorded this intro like 8 times. Well, hi, this is Karen with Xanadu Muse. Welcome. Today is going to be a book review. It's going to be my first book review, and it's going to be on this book, Tami Hoag. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her last name right. The Ninth Girl. This is not one of her newer books. This has been out since 2013. I got it at Books A Million in the bargain section, so you still can get it for like $7. Almost cheaper than paperbacks nowadays. It's been published by Dutton Penguin Group. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you the opportunity to actually get this copy. So stay tuned for that, because it was a pretty good book. I really enjoyed it. And before I start talking about it, I'm not going to give any, I'm going to try not to give any, hints or anything away, plots. Before I want to get into it, I have read many Tami Hoag books before. And I won't say she's like my all-time favorite author, but when I say her book, I know I'm going to get a good book to read. She's had some of her books turned into miniseries, and I think Valerie Bertinelli was in one of them. And I think there was a series of books, and that's the one that Valerie Bertinelli did, but I don't remember the name of it. Anyway, let's jump into the book. This book opens up on I got my notes just in case you're wondering why I keep flipping back and forth. This book opens up on New Year's Eve when a girl falls out of a trunk of a car and a Hummer, those big Hummer limos, hits her. And of course that brings a lot of questions. They start to pile up. Was she dead before the Hummer hit her? Before she fell out of the trunk? Who is this girl? Is she the 9th victim of a serial killer? That's the title. Was she the victim of a classmate or a family instead of this serial killer? That they don't know if she was the 9th girl of the serial murder that they keep talking about. But she is the 9th girl that was killed on New Year's in the year. So that's how the book starts. And it's the job of the homicide detectives Sam Kovac and Nikki Liska to answer these questions. I hope I got their names right, but it is so hard to tell the right pronunciations on books. Because I can't ever get Hermione Granger right on Harry Potter, so I don't even try. Okay. The limo driver who hit the girl described the girl. By the way, I put limbo. I don't know if you can read it. I put limbo. I'm so funny. And the limo girl described the girl as rising out of the trunk, looking like a zombie, and then falling out of the trunk of the car, and he hits her. And he didn't get any other details than that because he was too busy paying attention to what was going on behind him. It was New Year's Eve. Somebody rented the limo. They were having a party. They were doing some unsavory things in that limo. So he had his attention span somewhere else besides the road. So he wasn't much help with any of the details. He thinks he kills the girl. I don't know if they ever got around telling him that he probably was not 100% responsible, because you got to think. The girl was in a trunk and she looked like a zombie. Yeah, she looked like a zombie. Her face was destroyed pretty much because of acid. So, the two detectives I mentioned, Sam Kovac and Nikki Liska, they are your basic police officers. They love their job. They do it for the job. They don't do it for the money. They're overworked, underpaid. Let's see. As for the main characters, we do not really get to see a glimpse of Sam Kovac's personal life because he basically says he has no personal life. He lives the job. He's married to the job. As for the lady sergeant, or the homicide detective, Nikki Liska, she has 2 teenage boys, and they will play a key role into the story because one of them knows the victim. And she is having trouble with one of her sons. And if you read the book, you will find out what kind of trouble she is having with her son. Just a lot of leave me alone, mom kind of things. It's none of your business, mom kind of things. I can't remember in this version of it if I said how I do like this book, so I do give it a thumbs up. Now there's 3 different types of characters besides the 2 main characters, the 2 police officers, and I'm going to break it down into the groups. First group is the supporting police officers, and they really did not play much of a role. I do not remember their names, and you really don't care if you remember their names. They're just there to fill up words on the page. One was used to introduce his niece, and the niece was a blogger, and she was there to get the younger crowd, get them aware of the situation that was going on, which was a serial killer was killing young girls. That was the main purpose for those 2 characters, I feel. But like I said, I do not know their names. I don't remember their names. I don't know anything about their personalities. They were just there to help the investigation. The second group is the teenagers, and they are in a prestigious high school, and you either had to be rich or you had to get a scholarship to it. And Sergeant Liska's son had a scholarship to the school. And of course, like any other school, remember back to your high school, there is always a group of the in crowd. And that was the main group of characters, was the main crowd, the in crowd. There was Christine. She was the most popular girl in school, and everybody wanted to be like her or be with her, except for Sergeant Liska's son and the victim. But that's about all I'm going to say about that one. They did their own thing, but everybody else wanted to be like her. And she was a snob. Just think about your own cliques back in your high school days, and you know exactly who I'm talking about. She, of course, dated the hottest guy in school. And they had their followers. They had her best friend, and he had his best friends. And whenever they decided to beat somebody up, they all got together and beat the guy up. Right, so, and you know more about these characters because it is a possibility that the 9th girl may have been killed by one of her classmates and not by the serial killer. You do not know for almost the entire book who killed this girl. It could have been the serial killer. It could not have been. So it could have been one of her classmates that did it. So we know more about the students than we did about the police officers. The third group is the parents of the group 2. And they are like carbon copies of each other. Miss Prissy has her dad was like a psychologist, and he was like all-knowing, snobby, sweater tied to his neck. Perfect, just carbon copies of each other. The father of her boyfriend, carbon copy. Then you have Sergeant Liska. Her and her son were not carbon copies, and neither was the victim and her parents. But we got to learn more about the parents because it's possible that the victim was murdered by one of the parents. That's why we got more information about them. And then there was an oddball character, the serial killer. And that's all I'm going to say about him or her. Because I'll let you read the book and let you find out about him or her. But you have to be a nutcase to be a serial killer, right? So, one reason why I like this book is Tami Hoag gave you the information to find out in your mind who the killer was if you put the pieces together. I hate when an author withholds a piece of vital information and then at the end reveals it in like a have you ever watched Monk, and he says he knows who did it and he tells you how it was happened, and then there's one piece of information, if you had it you would have known it, and they didn't tell you. Well, she doesn't do that. I have seen other, I've read other authors that done it. One of them was, talked about Harry Potter was J.K. Rowling's, but she uses the other, that other name, Silkworm or something, I don't remember it. She withheld a piece of information that said who the killer was in her first book. That was really annoying. That's one reason why I like this book, because you could figure it out on your own. Did I figure it out? And I kept going back and forth, going back and forth, going back and forth. And let's see what else. There's no romance in this book, unless you consider the romance between Sergeant Liska's son and the nice girl in the group. When you always have a group, you always have one nice girl that kind of is on the edge. She knows the mean girl is a little bit too mean, but she wants to stay in the popular group, but she's nice to other people. He has a crush on her. That's the closest thing they come to romance. His name is Kyle, by the way. Sergeant Liska's older son. I do like the relationship between the two detectives. They kind of remind me of the relationship of the Good Days of Law and Order SVU with Olivia Benton and Stabler. But the sergeant in here does not have a filter. Olivia Benton's character has a filter. This book is definitely for adults only, which kind of makes me wonder why I am reading it, because sometimes I have a hard time acting like one. The language is strong. They do use the F word or F-bomb. I personally don't use it, so I'm not going to say it, but you know what word I'm talking about. Throughout the book, I mean, it's not like every other word, but it's every couple of pages. There is violence. After all, the girl was murdered. She was unrecognizable, so that's why we did not know who she was at the very beginning, and you do not find out later who she is. So she had a horrible death, and they describe it several times, and that's why the limo driver thought he killed her, and he didn't, because of the way she was murdered. There is a serial killer involved. Is it okay for me to roll my eyes at the serial killer? I can't do it. He or her was a bozo. It could have gives you hint, maybe. Bozo. Well, there was no sex scenes in this book. It was heavily hinted at and as being part of the story, and that's all I'm going to say about that part. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the book, her books are very easy to read. She doesn't put any fancy words. She might have done it once, and it was because one of the pretentious parents were talking, and she used it to show how pretentious the parents were. And it was just to prove a point. The guy was obnoxious. It was the dad of the girl, the snobby teenage girl, the it girl. This book does keep you involved in the story. You want to turn to the next page and the next page and the next page. And sometimes I find with these whodunit kind of books that they tend to annoy me and I don't want to read it, so I flip to the end and I find out who did it. Her books are never like that. You want to read the steps on how you figure it out, how it was done, who done it, whatever. So I read beginning to the end, did not cheat, did not skip ahead, and it was a pretty good book. I felt like I was an observer in the corner, and that's what a good book does to me. It feels like you are immersed in the book, you're watching it as it goes along, and you believe it. Like when I read Harry Potter, I believe I'm at Hogwarts, and I'm watching Harry battle with that blonde-headed Malfoy Draco and have issues with Snape, blah, blah, blah. That's what a good book does to me. It draws me in, and I believe it. I believe in unicorns and centaurs and all that kind of stuff. So if I can believe it while I'm reading it, then it's a good book. All right, I highly recommend it. And you can probably get it at your library, and it's probably pretty easy to find because, like I said, it was copyrighted in 2013. And you probably can find it at Books A Million in your bargain section. And here's the giveaway. Right now, I only have 8 subscribers. And I'm only asking for 25. So, if I get to 25 subscribers, and you comment in the comment section below that you would like this book, I will send you the book. Yes, it is. I've read it. But as you can see, you can't tell that it's practically new. I read it. When I read books like this, I don't keep them. I don't have any desire to keep them. I plan to do a lot of these type of giveaways. Read the book and then pass it on. Because there's no reason for me to keep it. Because it'll just collect dust on my bookshelf. The only books I tend to keep are certain authors. And she's not one of them, I'm afraid to say. And children's books like the Harry Potters and Philippa Gregory. She's another one that I will keep. And all, like Anna Green Gables. I kept all of those. My Little House on the Prairies. I kept all of those. Like I said, children's books. I don't know why. And teenage books. I kept. I don't have any of the Hunger Games. I have them on digital, but. And I have Divergent. If I could just get rid of Divergent, I would. I was so mad that I read that book. Those books. Oh, if I could take back my life of reading those books. It made me so mad. Anyway. Another set of books that I really like here and that I collect is Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. And then I will collect classics like Jack London. He's one of my favorite classic authors. And Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice is my favorite book in the world. I like Emma and Sense and Sensibility and all those. Those I will keep, but these I will never read again. I love John Grisham. Won't read them. Every year I buy my aunt a John Grisham book for Christmas. No, for her birthday. He comes out with one every year about her birthday. Give it to her for her birthday. She reads it. Lets me borrow it. I read it. Give it back to her. So you will not be getting John Grisham books because they are not mine to give. Though I do have 2 reviews in this because I just read 2 of them. Well, that concludes this review, and thank you for watching. And like I said, if you want a chance to win this book, please subscribe, share, and leave comments below. And I just want 25 subscribers. That's all I'm asking. Oh, mailing. I mail media mail. I'm not rich. I work for the state government. So media mail is going to have to do. You'll get it, maybe a little slower, but it's going to be a whole lot cheaper for me. So give this a thumbs up, please subscribe, leave a comment, and this could be your book next. Hopefully you will enjoy it and maybe pass it on to the next person. And that's one reason why I like books over digital. It's because you can pass it on to the next person. You can't do that with digital. Wish you could, but you can't. So have a great day and enjoy your reading. I kissed a kitty and I liked it. I liked it. Say hi, Singapore. He's not. Go on. Come here. Come here. Come back. Little camera shy toad. Today is our 10th year anniversary. Me and my kitty. Different location today. I'm in the kitchen. And I am not in the kitchen. It is going to be a book review, and it's a book review on this book, Tami Hoag, The Ninth Girl. When I'm looking at the screen, it's backwards, so if it doesn't flip around, I'll flip the screen correctly. Why am I telling you this? I don't know. What else? Oh. I'm not going to edit this video, so all my quirks are going to be in it. Sorry about that. I have a lot of quirks. the main character. Can't remember. AJ, be quiet. AJ's growling at me. Give him a dirty look. Anyway, this book is very easy to read. It is not a difficult read at all. And it opens up. Oh, really? He is licking my arm. I do not know what he wants, but he's about to. He's about nothing. Because he knows he can get away with everything and anything, like bark at me and lick my arm. Let's see, what was I going to say? Why are you barking? You ruined this video! I'm going to give you a black nose. Look, by the way, he already has a black nose. So, not threatening him. He already has one. I always tell him I'm going to beat him till he's white and black. What color is he? White and black. He knows I'm full of it. He's over there wagging his tail. All right.